hello.
Hi.
Glad to have you back.
Thanks for
see you at these things. I always loved how you, like embrace the horror scene and like you're a fan yourself. Because there's a lot of great actors and actresses that are in these movies and like
they never see
it's just a role, you know what I mean?
Like Jamie Lee Curtis.
she's becoming a little bit more.
Are you in line?
So based on that, I just I'm curious what your favorite horror movie is. Not necessarily something you're in. I mean, it could be something. But
I mean, I always go back to Poltergeist. But
Okay.
I think it's because I saw that movie when I was too young to see it, and I was about the same age as Carol and him. So I remember like sneaking out of my room. Remember how the old HBO sound, the opening of HBO? You know, like, ooh, my parents are watching something that I'm not allowed to watch. I'm supposed to be sleeping, you know? So I would sneak out and vivid memories of like hiding underneath my grandparents' house, like under their like kitchen island, and like a perfect view of the TV. They couldn't see me. So that was how I was first introduced to Poltergeist. So I slept with a light on in my closet for many years.
And then just one more thing.
Yeah.
We just lost Tony Todd. You with him. Can you just tell us like any funny story or just some experience?
I just love Tony. I mean, I have so many memories with him. There's just really nobody quite like him. I was telling someone in the car the other day that I remember about him. We were doing Hatchet 2, and I think we shot the whole beginning of most of the movie on a soundstage, and then all the exterior daytime, I guess, stuff. We shot in Louisiana, and Tony was a little bit late coming to work that day because he was enjoying himself the night before. Definitely loves the old OG bars and some strip clubs here and there. So I have ventured into some of those places with him as well, which is always fun. And so there's a couple scenes in 2 where he's wearing big rain boots. And I remember we shot like a half of a day or something, and then at some point Adam was like, "The fuck, Tony, why are you wearing those boots?" He's like, "I'm wearing them all day. I don't want them on my shoes." Like he didn't want to walk in the mud and all the shit, but like the character's not wearing those boots. But he didn't give a fuck. He was just like, I don't care, nobody's gonna notice.
Are those in any of the scenes?
I'm pretty sure they're in a considerable amount of the scenes. He did not care. It was like, great. And just, and you guys saw my post to Tony, though I don't know if you want to follow me on Instagram, but I had a weird feeling last weekend. 2 weekends ago, I was in Niagara Falls. Because I'll always see him at some point, throughout the year. And I managed to see him all the time, and then I didn't because he got sick, and then he came back again, and I was like, yeah, he's back, and then I hadn't seen him, so on the 28th of October, I sent him a text message, because I came out from wherever I was, and I was like, I just feel like something bad is going on, and but I'm all connected to these guys, we have that thing with one another, so I texted him and just said, hey, it's me, I haven't seen your face, and I'm thinking about you, and I miss you, and I hope you're okay, and I'm sending you love, and then he wrote back that day, thank you, and good morning, I'm glad I did it, because that's the last conversation I had, so we didn't get to talk to one another, but at least he knows, how he was on my mind, and that I loved him, and, he's great, he's gonna be missed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is going to be so basic. I'm so sorry.
Give it to me. It's Sunday. Be basic.
I love you in all the talking you can but specifically Rob's only one you stand out so much to me. By far one of my favorite characters.
Thanks.
I just want to know what was it like to work with that movie? Did you ever last?
Yeah, I mean, it was, which one? The first one or the second one?
Well, honestly, both.
The first one was much easier because everything was already planned out. The script was what we followed. And but there were some things we would get we would get revisions sometimes to like scenes in the morning. So we'd get in the car and we could go out of hotel, we'd get to the hotel, we'd get in the van, and we'd be on the way to set. When we get to set, we'd have new what's called sides, which is like small versions of dialogue of the scenes you're doing for the day. So you kind of know like the order, even though you know what you're gonna do, just to have it. It's so we can hide it, so in case we forget our lines, basically. So some directors don't let you bring them on set. So, but every actor has a hiding place. You just look at it real quick and then you like shove it in the couch, under a book, like anywhere you need to be like, oh shit, okay, that's what it is. So I think Rob might have been listening sometimes to my conversations with Scout and the girls, because he was always sort of sitting at the monitor with the headphones on, and you forget you're mic'd. And you're not supposed, the sound guy is supposed to turn it off, but sometimes I think it gets just left on, but it's not recording. So I would notice, like, in revisions, some of the stuff that Scout and I would talk about, a lot of the dialogue and conversations and the way we talk would end up being in the revisions the next day. So I was like, he's listening to what we are talking about, so we gotta be careful what we say, When I did ask him, he was like, oh, well, I don't know how 17-year-olds talk, so like, it helps me to hear you guys talk like this. So it was easier-ish, the first one. The second one, I was wrapped, I think 2 or 3 times from Atlanta, and I kept having to go back to do stuff that he kept adding into it. But there was no like real clear, concise reason why. It was just like you're coming back and you're okay, go, we're gonna slit your throat today. And I was like, what? What are you slitting my throat for? Like, oh, it's gonna be flashback meeting, and you just kind of go like, oh, okay, whatever, cool, or like go stand over there. He built this like weird, like I don't know what it was, like just like a shelter, like I don't know. It was outside in the grass outside of the bracket house, but it was like a little booth that we would go in, and we had this camera and this weird lighting, and he was like, I just need you to scream a lot and shake your head and act like you're crazy, and we're just gonna film it. And we were like, okay. So you'll see in Halloween 2, I think when she's got like, she's having those like flashes of things, and it's like weird lighting, and you see me screaming, that was just like done in a tent, basically. So we didn't know what we were doing, because he kept changing and adding stuff until we actually saw the movie.
Well, it was incredible.
Thank you. Of course.
Hi. So it's crazy no matter how many times I meet you, I always have questions for you.
No, great.
I have a couple for you. What is your favorite kill scene done to you, and then you got to do to somebody?
I've only been a killer in one movie, and I don't actually like being the killer. I think it's kind of boring. I don't know, these guys seem to like it, but I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I was happy that I got to kill Bill Moseley. I don't remember even how I did it, but how did I do it in that movie? Does anyone remember? Oh, did I just shoot him? Oh, that's fucking lame. So yeah, I don't remember, that movie was so long ago. My favorite kill, who here has seen Stream? So that's a really fun death scene. But my favorite death scene is Halloween 2 of my own, I'm sure.
That's a great one. And one more question. What was it like doing Holliston? Like, were you worried about people thinking your character would be something else?
I was actually. I was like, God, who here has seen that episode of Holliston? Okay, so Holliston was a show that Adam Green and Joe Lynch did on FearNet when it was on FearNet, right? And then it disappeared and then it moved to somebody else, but it was basically a show about 2 horror fans that are trying to make their own movies, and he would have all of us genre actors cameo, and it's a dark comedy, so he always writes us these like extreme versions of ourselves. And one of the episodes that I did with him, he made me addicted to pain pills, and my character, even though it was me, Danielle, he kept going and having to get his teeth pulled in order to give me more drugs, and he kept going back to the dentist because I kept seducing him, and he knew he would get some if he gave me more drugs. So then he wrote a scene with me and Kate Potter and he, where we had a threesome. And he had a Michael Myers mask on with a ball gag, and I made him put on. And then came in the room ready to join the threesome. And yeah, what's really interesting about Adam is that aside from having him write stuff for me that's really hard to do and fucked up for me to do, like doing a whole movie handcuffed is a nightmare. Handcuffed and holding an urn and like, yeah, I was like, please, for the love of God, make it a little easier on me. But he likes to write parts where he and I have to make out. And Jill has to watch. And Jill will be the first to say, like, why are you always writing stuff? Because I did one other short film for him where he and I also were making out in a car. Like, everything I do with you, it's fucking weird. But yeah. That's okay. My husband showed up actually on set that day with a giant bottle of Listerine for him. For me, actually. After we kissed, he's like, here you go.
Twitter or whatever it's called now, for you to come back as Jamie. And it seems like more horror movies are dealing with the trauma suffered by Fauna Girls, most recently Terrifier 3. So if you were to reprise the role of Jamie right after Halloween 4, where do you see her now?
Oh, I have a whole story in my head that I've already written about where she would be and what she would be doing. So this is what I think happened. I think that was not Jamie in Halloween 6. I think that girl was someone that was cuckoo and was placed there as me by Dr. Loomis. And Jamie's actually still alive, different name, nobody knows, basically like witness protection kind of situation in another state, and then maybe has kids, and maybe now she's having those visions that she had in 5 or something, you know, where she starts seeing things happen, or something happens to her kids, and I'm kind of the only one left that has to go and go back to Haddonfield to stop this from happening. So I think there could be, should be, maybe one day, there could be a time where Michael and Jamie meet up together and she's an adult. That's because that wasn't me in Halloween 6. It wasn't that girl impregnated by Michael Myers. Horrible death. It's definitely not Jamie.
How did the unveiling of Killer Cakes go?
Killer Cakes was great. That was so fun. Anybody here seen that show, Killer Cakes? So if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime, and Blumhouse produced it. And I love doing reality stuff. I love reality shows. And it's my guilty pleasure. And Matt Willard hosted it, and I got to judge these really cool cake artists that made these like disgustingly delicious, brutal, and they mixed the cakes with like special effects artists, and it was so nice. I just got to be dressed pretty and sit in my room and talk about the housewives, and then come out and eat cake and judge them, and then go back to my room and talk more about the Real Housewives. Because one of the set, they have like the set cast production assistant, basically, that's responsible for making sure we don't disappear. Not going to go anywhere. He had worked on The Housewives of New Jersey, so and I love that show. So I was like, tell me everything.
You put up Stream a few minutes ago. For anybody who might not be familiar with it, what is it about and where do people find it?
It's streaming right now. It wasn't in theater for like a day. But it's the same guys that did Terrifier, same group, and it's basically about a family that goes on vacation to this place that they used to visit a lot before they had kids, essentially, or when the kids were younger. And Jeffrey Combs is wonderful, and he's sort of the wizard behind the curtain. There's a game that's going on where we're locked in, and there's cameras everywhere that we don't know, and we're being streamed live on the internet, and people are playing. There's players in the hotel, and they are getting judged on the creativity of the kill, how brutal it was, all these sort of ways to score, and then there's winners. So there's all these crazy ways. How innovative can you be when you're killing someone, essentially? So I don't survive. But I have a really, really cool kill in it. And obviously Damien did the makeup and all that stuff. So if you like that brutal, hardcore kind of stuff, we get it a lot in that movie.
You regaled the Baltimore audience with Kane Hodder's notorious pranking.
Yes. I love there's giggles going on so you guys know what they are.
Who was not here in Baltimore for it?
Oh,
All right. Okay. Something with a tube spray.
Yes. So you guys know Kane. We've all met him, right? He's like a big prankster. He never pranks me. He's never fucked with me. He never pranked me. He gets everybody else. He just doesn't mess with me, which is great. Because he knows I would be pissed off. I mean, I probably would get more scared than anyone that he's messed with. So for years, actually, Tony was there too. For years, a good year, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but conventions have a certain smell sometimes to them. Especially when it's really crowded and in the old hotel, room, whatever those rooms were, and it's summer and everyone's sweaty and gross, and I don't know, it's like dirty ass sweat smell. You guys know what it is. It's it's not even BO sometimes. It's I don't know what that is, but it's like wet ass. You wonder, you're like, did you not wash your hands? Or, which I asked my husband, I was like, what the fuck? And he said, it's shit stains. It's maybe it's in their underwear. And I was like, wait, what? Because I thought it's there. I'm who doesn't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom for any reason? And he's like, it's not on their hands, it's in their pants. I'm like, no, there's no way. But yeah. And I meet a lot of people at these shows, and I take pictures with lots of people. So please wipe your ass. Because we all talk about you. Seriously. And don't wear a cut-off sleeve shirt if you sweat a lot, because we're short, some of us, and I'm sorry, I know you guys always want to have your arm over me, but there is a reason why I always put my arm over yours, and thank God most people don't correct me, but there are definitely some people. And it's not because I think you guys are going to smell them, just in general, a few times that I'm okay, fine, you can go on top of me. I had to take off a shirt. I think it might have been in Baltimore. Whatever, no, it wasn't Baltimore, it was Kentucky. I had to take my fucking shirt off and roll it up and throw it in my suitcase and wear my handler, the woman who was working with me, wear her giant sweatshirt that we tied with a rubber band, because this really pretty cute girl came to take a picture with me, and she put her arm over me, and she had the worst BO, and I couldn't get it out of my fucking hair. It was on my sleeve of it was on my shirt and on my hair. And I was like, Scout, you have to smell me. It's me, it's fucking me, it's on me, it's literally on me. And everyone was like, it must just be still in your nose. I'm like, no, dude, it's on me. Yeah, so I take my clothes off. So also wear deodorant. Anyway, so for years we've all talked about, the smell of convention sometimes, or how sick we all get after because shaking everybody's hand, and we call that convention crud. And I always smelled shit. And I was in Indianapolis at Days of the Dead, and it was so gnarly that I thought it was coming out of the vent behind my table. Something died back there. So I had to go, I went and I got security to come, and I was like, I swear, it's coming from here. You need to do something about this. They were trying to look, they all smelled it, but didn't know where it was coming from. So this went on for a while, and then another show that was it's back, it's fucking back again. And then I was at a show in Florida, and my sister was with me. And she looks over at one point and she goes, it's Kane! I was like, what? He has a little spray called Pump a Dump that he would, without me looking, would spray behind my table. So of course, like, I'm talking to somebody, you know, and then he sprays it, and then I get up to take a picture, and I'm like, this person shit their pants. But I'm, you know, you're still smiling, like, great to meet you, great to meet you. And then, you know, when that person goes over to the next table, you're like, did you shit their pants? Like, we're trying to give the person a heads up of like, make the picture quick, because you're gonna get it in a whiff in a second. So for a good year or so, I had no idea that it was Kane doing it to me. And then once I caught on, I started, when shows would get a little slow, I started asking him if I could have it. And then Nico Hughes and I actually went around to people that we maybe had heard weren't as friendly to fans as they should have been. And we would just do laps, and as they would be up the pictures, we would just spray behind their table and walk away. So we had fun doing that. And we became our friends too. I know we did Bill. And then there was one, oh my God, I don't know what show it was, but there was like a photo booth, or something that was made, it was like Chucky's, you know, child, it was the box that Chucky comes in. But it was enclosed, and all the fans would get in and take pictures inside, so I was like, let's spray inside there. So we just went in and sprayed and then ran, and then I'm sure anybody that got in there to take a picture afterwards was like, what the fuck happened here? This is so gross. So yeah, so wipe your ass. If you smell shit, it's probably Kane spray, but it could not be, so wipe your ass.
I listen to Monster Mania religiously, and I'm just kind of curious, did you ever prank Scout with that? Or like, ever pull a prank on her? Like especially with the spray?
No, because I don't trust her. That she wouldn't mess with me. No, her and I are crazy enough. I haven't done anything to mess with her. I'm trying to think. I mean, we'll send each other stupid texts and I'll fuck with her that way, but I haven't actually done any physical pranks on her. She's too smart for that, especially if it's from me. She'll know that it's from me, for sure. But she does know that I have a very strong sense of smell. So there are times where, like, you know, she will come out of the bathroom or something and be like, you don't want to be, wasn't her leaving that smell in there, but it would be like, you're not gonna want to go in there. She always knows. Or if, like, I hate seafood, I don't eat seafood because I can't stand the way, you know, you listen to the show, the way it smells. So, like, her and Serena Vincent were out after a show at the airport, and they were like, we're at this restaurant, might have been Baltimore, I don't know, it was somewhere where they were famous for their seafood. And I was like, I'm not gonna go over there and sit in that restaurant, it smells like fucking fish. And I didn't say it, but I was like, oh, okay, I'll come say hi to you guys. And as soon as I walked over, I was like, oh my God, I don't know. She's like, I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, hurry up, pack this up. I can't sit here and eat while this shit smells like that. So, I don't know. It was fun when I was pregnant. You ladies know when you're pregnant and like your sense of smell? Oh yeah, not fun for me. But now I'll prank her. I'll think about it anyway. But I can. Hi.
When you were filming Halloween, were you like genuinely scared when Michael Myers was chasing you, or were you just like acting?
Just acting. Yeah. Because I was really good friends with all of them under there, and I think they made it such a point to like make sure that I wasn't scared. The only scary part about filming scary movies is the location sometimes. So there's times where you're filming in creepy places, or your character, especially when I was younger, like, you know, I have to be waiting around the corner because they have to wait, you know, so sometimes if I'm waiting around a corner and I'm by myself, waiting for action, and it's dark and it's the middle of the night and it's creepy, then I can get a little bit scared. I used to anyway, before I would have to come out, and then as soon as you come around the corner, it's this many people, you know, so you're not really scared. Yeah, sure.
To spin off of Pranking Scab, you guys have another movie coming out soon, don't you?
Yes, we start, I go to LA on the 30th of November. We start on the 2nd. crazy. I can't believe we're going to do it. We are starring in and co-directing a movie together called Till Death. And it's going to be really fun and effed up and naughty and stylistic, and hopefully you guys dig in and different than I think you've seen us in. I mean, we haven't done a movie together since 2009. So she directed me in a movie that I just did for her, but it's not a horror movie. But I can't wait to play with her. It's going to be so fun. Can't wait. There's a lot of, we've got a lot of brutal shit happening. And then David Leroy Anderson is Heather Langenkamp's husband. You know, he was won Academy Awards for Men in Black, and yeah, he did all the effects for, oh God, where's my brain going right now? Ryan Murphy's show. Yes, American Horror Story. So he's doing all of our effects for us, making stuff for us, and so we've got a really, really good team involved. A lot of favors we're calling in, a lot of friends, a lot of people will be in it that you'll know. And
So obviously you've been acting for a very long time in all the Halloween movies. What was your favorite one that you did?
favorite Halloween?
Yeah.
That's always going to be the fourth one. We just started it all. You know, it's like everything was new to me. I'd never been on a film set before, and then like working nights and stuff. Yeah, I turned 11 on set. I was just excited. You know, there's things that you get excited about as a kid that you don't as an adult. Like, I was very excited that I got to stay up until I'd go to work at 5 at night. I'd start work at 7:30 when it got dark, and then I would wrap at 7:30 in the morning when the light would come up, and then I would get to go back home. And so I was very, very excited to stay up throughout the night. You know, it's just like dumb stuff like that.
And how did you meet your husband? Is he also in the industry?
No, he's not in the industry. I had been done dating actors. I was not going to marry one, that's for sure. It was a blind date, actually. My friend tried to set us up for about, about 7 years, and I was not interested. And then finally I was like, oh, okay, fine, whatever, we'll just go out. Because he's 9 years younger than me. So I was like, I'm not a 25-year-old. I mean, I know what I could do with a 25-year-old, but I don't want to marry him, you know? And then I you know, after a couple, I was not interested. And then he kept like pursuing. And then coming from dating actors that are like either have Peter Pan syndrome, or, you know, it's all about them, or they never work and I was paying for everything, you know, the typical story. I was like, never again. I might as well just see what this is like. And we had a horrible first date, and I told him that I was busy through the end of the year when he asked to hang out again. That was in October. And January 2nd, he called me and said, well, the year is over, so when can I take you out? And I was like, oh, he took it literally. But you guys have listened to the podcast or have seen him on the podcast, he takes everything literally. So I gotta be very careful what I say and how I say it. And unfortunately, my son is just like my husband. So I can't say, yes, we'll do it tomorrow. You know, yes, tomorrow. Because when tomorrow comes, when the alarm clock goes off, it's tomorrow.
Are your kids, will they be involved in acting or anything like that?
No. Absolutely not. Over my dead body. But my luck, they probably will want to get into it. But what's crazy is that they're really good liars. So they would probably be really good actors. I just want them to have real jobs. Especially I'm old-fashioned, like, I don't know. They're boys, I want them to be men, you know. I moved to the country to raise men, and I want them to know how to fix shit and do shit and dig into shit and protect and be respectful and open doors and yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. Like, I just want them to be like that. I lived in LA for too long where that didn't really exist. So I hope that they don't want to get into the business. Not as kids, that's for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I'm just curious, because you said you dated in the industry and your husband was a blind date, not in the industry.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, did he know going into it you had been in movies, or just like, oh,
He knew that I was maybe like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Like he never saw any horror movies or any Halloweens until we were together. I think we were together, and then we were like at a film festival where they were showing Halloween 4 on the screen. And he's like, okay, cool, I can watch it. He doesn't know about film. He likes stupid humor movies, you know. I mean, he's 38, so he's like, I don't care, whatever. Like, we can't have like an in-depth conversation about like plot and story and that, you know. It's like, yeah, he's just now like learning little things like, hey, I see her mic pack, you know. So he's thank God he's not an actor. But it would be nice to be able to have some of those conversations. But that's what my other friends are for.
I was just wondering how you got into acting at such a young age.
Oh, my mother started me in beauty pageants. It was different, it was the 80s, you know? But I still have pictures of me with like those pink curlers all over my head, blue and pink eyeshadow. Oh my God, I just actually went through, I'm writing a book, so I've been digging through all of my storage stuff, and I have these, I did not realize that I was a hoarder of memorabilia of mine. But then my husband reminded me, he's like, you've been doing this for 40 years. This is not a lot of stuff for 40 years. Like, oh yeah, I don't think about that. And one of the things that I had was all my old pageant dresses. I had like 4 of them. I mean, they're like this big, because I was 5, you know, and crowns and sashes and all that stuff. And I gave most of them to my little neighbor who's 3, and now she wears them and gets to play with them and all that stuff, which is way better than me schlepping them from fucking house to house to house to house until I die, and then my kids will throw them away anyway. So I try to get some use out of them, but yeah, beauty pageants. And then I won a beauty pageant that took me to New York City, because I was living in Florida at the time, but I was born in New York. And that particular pageant was like a model search kind of thing. So an agent was interested in me, but in New York, and we didn't sign because I wasn't living there. And then my stepdad got transferred to New York about a year later. So I was able to then go, hey, I could go back and sign with that agency, and then I started doing commercials. And I worked a lot because I was older, but I looked younger, or I was like, I paid attention and followed direction better than like a 5-year-old, but I was 8, you know, that kind of stuff. So I got lucky.
Wow, so was it like you just went to your parents and said, hey, I want to get into acting?
No, they tell me that I did, but that's not the truth. No, you don't know what it is as a kid, you know what I mean? Like you don't, and now it's even more tricky because now they think like even my kids, you know, I've told this story already. My older one, Carter, who's 7, started a YouTube channel that I had no idea that he did, or how he knows how to do that, because I barely know how to do that. And then was filming, he said, my phone, took my phone, and set up my phone in his brother's room, because there's bunk beds, and the opening of the top faces the TV, and he set it up, and they would record playing Fortnite, and then doing the voiceover to it, and then uploading it to YouTube. And this has been going on, I guess, since September, and we only found out in maybe like spring. And because my mother called and said, your son just called me and asked me to subscribe and like his video on his YouTube channel. And I was like, what? Also because he's using my phone to upload shit to his YouTube channel. And I have a lot of stuff on my phone. Like 10 years of stuff on my phone. So I was like, you son of a... So yeah, so I went in and he's like, please don't tell mom, please don't tell mom. And then my husband walked in because I guess he must have used his email somehow. It was attached to something, so my husband got a message. And so he and I both met in the kitchen around the same time, like, Carter, what are you doing? So he knows he's not allowed to do that anymore, so yeah.
And also, you mentioned writing a book. Do you have an idea for when you'd like to have that out?
Yeah, I've been trying to do, every time you guys see me with pieces of paper out at my table this weekend and a pen, I'm trying to rework my, the overview of it, because it was supposed to have already been pitched in October, but things have been so busy that I haven't gotten a chance to do it, to finish the pitch yet, but it'll probably be done in the summertime. And we're doing a documentary too, so they're sort of following me around through the whole. That's a separate thing, but it's kind of coinciding. And then we start our movie next month, so they'll be on set. So it's all sort of coming together. And I'm getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, you guys, in New York City Film Festival. The first weekend of December, New York City Horror Film Festival is giving me that. They called it a performance a professional performance. They tried to be nice and not make it, lifetime achievement, because I'm a little bit younger than some of the other people who've been given them, but it is a lifetime already, so.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll ask you a really fun question. So right now they're making a bunch of fairy tale horror movies based on Disney characters. What Disney princess would you like to play in a horror reimagining of it?
That's really a scout question, David. I don't know any of these. Listen, I did hear Scout she's doing a cooking show, and I know, it's crazy because she doesn't know how to cook. And neither does Tom, they kind of do. But it was fun, so I went to do her show in Lexington, or in Louisville, right before the Lexington, Kentucky show. David and I were on it together, and one of the questions that we had to pull from the box was who we thought Tom most represented as a Disney character. And I was like, I don't know. What are their names? I don't know all the names. You know all the names, And all I could think of, for some reason, because I know she loves Little Mermaid so much, so I was like, it's her dad, Titan. What's his name? I don't know.
King Triton.
What is it? King Triton? King Triton. So I didn't know. Well, first I was like, Prince Charming? And then I was like, who married this? And then Tom was like, what? He's like mean and angry. It's like, oh, I was just thinking he's like protective of his daughter. So I don't remember anything ever from anything, especially movies. So who would you think that would be? Oh, really? Rapunzel?
She said,
Oh, okay. She cooked.
no, she was trapped in a tower.
Well, she had a frying pan for her.
She had to cook for herself.
Huh.
Earlier you were talking about where Jamie would be in a new Halloween movie.
What happened to your voice?
My voice, I've been talking all the
Okay.
So if Donald Pleasance was still alive,
Yeah.
and he was still active, and he would do a movie with Jamie, where would you have him in the movie? Like, what would he be doing?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his after Halloween 5 and what he did to Jamie. It was awful what he did to Jamie in Halloween 5. I didn't realize how fucked up that was until I went back and watched it as an adult.
Did you have memories like that?
I didn't understand it at that age, that was weird or wrong, or it was he's literally holding Jamie in front of him like a shield as a giant man with a mask and a butcher knife is coming after him, and he's backing up the stairs with me in front of him. That's crazy. Do you think that would ever happen nowadays? No. Do you think they would let that happen now? Well, I don't know. They just killed a kid in Terrifier 3, right?
They wouldn't chase you in a car anymore either.
Yeah.
I was watching Halloween 5 with my boss, and I was like, did you know that she was really being chased by the car?
Yeah.
Right?
When you watch it, can you see the difference between my double and me?
No.
Really? So watch it again. My stunt double had a really bad wig.
Oh, okay.
So she almost had I don't know, feather, it was extra hair right here, the wig. It might have been bangs that were blowing then, so it was super thick. So you can see my hair's thinner and longer a little bit, and hers was a little thicker. So, but there was no reason for me to do it if she was going to do it.
So how much of that chasing did you do?
I did all of it.
Oh, wow. And why did you not double?
I don't know. If they were going to make me do it, what? I would never let my kids do that. Ever in a million years. Can you imagine? My mom was like, this is so fun. yes, go, baby. And I'm like, and the thing with these movies is, and I've talked about this before, there's no rehearsal. You can't rehearse it. You get one shot at it, maybe two. But like, he's running over a field of Christmas trees. So you can't like do that and then reset, so you just have to do it. It's the same with any effect. Any effect you see in a movie, you don't get rehearsals. You have to sort of talk about, okay, where's the gag, where's this gonna be? Okay, so for how long do I need to do this for? So I'm gonna grab the, for example, like we'll do, let me give you an example. Oh my God, you guys haven't seen Strain, but that keeps coming to my mind. It's the most recent movie. So it's like, okay, so how many seconds am I gonna sit in the chair? And then Killer's gonna do this, and then, then I grab this, and then I'm gonna do this with this, and then I will push the chair and run here, and then where do you want me to fall here, and then how does the, and so it's all like logistics of like timing, and then they say, okay, let's go through a rehearsal, we'll do a quarter speed, and you just sort of walk the beats, and then it's like, okay, what are we gonna see, how are we gonna do it, and then, it's same for the emotional stuff. That's why some of the emotional stuff is so good, because you're doing it for the first time, like you don't know how it's gonna feel for someone to like attack you.
So with that being said, how long did you rehearse for Stream for your attack scene?
I mean, we didn't. It was like, just got set up, just put the prosthetics on and got set up to do it. And we shot that maybe, I think it was maybe 5 hours was that whole first half of the day, I think. It was pretty much all of that from when I encountered the player until the demise.
You really have stress of your own until that end. You did a really good job.
Thank you. So it's cool, everyone's always like, oh, are you scared to do this or that? And you're like, I always say this, your body doesn't know that you're acting, so your adrenaline going, and you're like, okay, let's do this. And when there's a gag involved, stunts involved, it's like all this shit happens, and you're like, okay, I don't want to get hurt, I don't want him to get hurt, but I want it to look good, but how do you, there's a lot that is going on in your brain. It's like, and then all of a sudden you hyperventilate because you're running and screaming and, making yourself have that feeling. And, you guys should try it. It's interesting. If you just pretend in your house that someone, really, really pretend as though you have to make it believable that someone is coming after you, and then just stop, and then feel what that feels like inside your body, and your whole body's gonna be and then you're physical with somebody too, and of course they're all 3 times my size, so you have to deal with all of that too. If someone, shaking you around and grabbing you, and it's a weird thing that happens to your body.
Before we wrap it up, do you have any upcoming projects you want to promote?
Aside from our movie Till Death, Scout's movie is called Bringing the Law that I'm in. And our Talk Scary to Me, we have our Patreon, which we'd love for you guys to join. I have my own Patreon too. I've got some of my peeps in here. We're a really good community. We do on my own Patreon, we do movie nights once a month or happy hour and hang out on Zoom, and we all know each other and we've become a big family. But our Patreon for Talk Scary to Me is how we're able to continue to make the show and do the shows, because we make no money. So that's super helpful for us to keep doing what we do. But you guys are the reason why we're able to do, we can take or not take movies, because we do conventions, and your support really helps us be able to do that and keep our career going, because what actors get paid. Do you guys know how much actors get paid when we work for SAG scale for the day? Which is what most of us make now. We work, it's a 10-hour day is the base, and we get $240. That's what our union scale, that's for any movie that's under $1 million. We get $240 a day before taxes and before our agent, which is 10%, and our manager, which is 10%. So usually we end up with nothing, a couple bucks here and there. So it's nice to be able to have this stuff so then we're able to like actually do movies. Like put it this way, I've been working my butt off and I didn't make my health insurance this year. So, yes.
That's the SAG health insurance?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not covered. I have to pay out of pocket because I didn't make. You have to make 20. Well, it's lovely. They base it on the year prior your salary. So I didn't make. You have to make more than $24,000 a year. So you guys see how much I work, and to know that that there's. It's a struggle for everybody. So anytime anyone's like that movie star, they're rich or they're this, it's like you make more than I do.
Do you allow your children to watch some of your movies?
They don't care.
They don't care.
They're just now getting into the wild thornberries because I have a DVD player in my car, but not in my house. So I'm like going through my shit. I'm like, oh, I found the first couple seasons. So I'll put it on the way to school in the morning. They would much rather play their Xbox or their Switch, but we watched a little of Halloween 4 this Halloween for the first time. Jagger was more interested in playing video games. Every once in a while he'd look up, but mostly when there was like cute girls. He's way more into like girls than anything else. And Carter was watching it with me, but he kept like not wanting to. And then the kissing scene came up and he was like, Mom, not for me. He didn't watch Rob Zombies. But I was like, that's Aunt Kathleen. Like, we go horseback riding with her, he got scared. I had to shut it off because I closed his eyes for some of the stuff, but I'll try to like laugh while I'm watching it. So because they're looking for me for the reaction, So I'm like, look how cool that is. Look, so he puts his thumb in that's like he's just going like this with his thumb in his forehead when he's in the car, right? Like that's all that it is, like that. Let me do it to you, and then they're like, oh God, okay, that's funny. So I try to like make it a little bit less. But right after the nightmare scene, Jamie's nightmare, under the bed and stuff, Carter was like, I don't want to watch anymore. I'm like, all right, he's getting scared. But they went to see Beetlejuice. Well, they both got in my bed that night, but they were like, we're not scared. And then they both, in the middle of the night, came in my bed. But they love Michael Myers, they know who he is, like he's all over my house. I've shown them the very end scene, not the killing, but just me at the stairs. I was like, that's what the pictures are. When people come over to me and they're talking about Jamie and, this is what they're talking about. So they know that, but they could care less. But my Carter is telling his friends at school that my mom's famous because I had lunch with them and as soon as I sat down in the cafeteria, his little friend was like, so Carter says you're famous. Is that true? I was like, Carter. He was like, I didn't know you knew what that was. Yes.